Welcome back to Vantage Point here on Seeds TV. We're so happy to have you here with us again, and I hope you've joined us on our social media outlets. Join the conversation, always hashtag VP Convo. And to everybody who's joined us already, we thank you for your comments and your feedback. We just appreciate you so much. You know, the last time we were together, we talked about a lot of stuff.
Yes.
We did, didn't we? We talked about sheltering your children, and the feedback was interesting, but you know, this is all about, you know, just having an open dialogue and a conversation about rearing children in that context. And then we also talked about Serge's thing for feet, you know, and I did what you told me. I tried, and yeah, we'll leave that there. And voting, you know, that's interesting. Everybody has an opinion about voting, which is good. At least we're talking about it. Now we have to take the conversation to action. And so we can get to the polls and make sure we exercise our right to vote and cast it. Undergarments. I hope we all got fitted and purchased what we needed to purchase and was well prepared for the church offering fashion show. Right? You know, look, we should probably have judges who hold up a sign.
No,
Number 10.
no judgment.
That's right. This is a no judgment zone at all. And then finally, Rahab, our good friend, the toot, right? Well, anyhow, so today we have some interesting things to discuss. Trending. What's trending today, Serge?
Well, one of the things I've noticed amongst us as ladies, we have difficulty embracing one another. I would like to talk about sisterhood. What does that mean? The true meaning of friendship. You know, a lot of times when I talk to other ladies, I'll hear things like, well, I don't get along with other women because, and they'll give you a list of their past experiences. Or they had a negative relationship with another female, so therefore it just kind of left a bad taste in their mouth. So then, you know, and from a personal experience, I grew up very competitive environment. From Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. And we are aggressive people, especially in the household that I was raised in. But we lacked this thing what I would call a true sisterhood. It was always a competitiveness.
Right.
Who's prettier? Who's light? Who's dark? Whose hair is long? And back then, growing up, weaves was not a big thing.
Right.
So if a young lady had long hair, 9 out of 10 times she was hated upon. You know, if you were a certain complexion, you were looked upon. And I can speak from a personal experience where I was that girl that was very critical because of my low self-esteem. Because I was taught that, okay, well, you're not as pretty as your sisters, or you're not as smart as your sisters. So I grew up with this complex that I had to be this overachiever. So if I saw another pretty girl, instead of complimenting her and saying, you are beautiful, and appreciating the different talents around me, I would look at that as a negative thing. You're taking that from me because in my thought process, you have something that I want, and not realizing that the truth of the matter is we need one another.
That's right.
And it wasn't until I really got into the Word of God and really understanding what God was saying about who I am in Him that I could look at my sisters and marvel over their beauty, marvel over their wisdom and their talents and just who they are and how genuine they are. But talk to me about that. What is your vantage point on that, on sisterhood?
First of all, that was very honest, and thank you for being so honest. And secondly, you definitely delivered, because I don't know anybody more encouraging.
Exactly.
This woman gives the best hugs
and
you
the
will
best
ever,
compliments.
and encouraging word. You know, so it's to be said that, you know, God restores even, you know, from there. But why do we have to find differences about everything? I mean, everything from you know, from status to occupation to you know, hair, length, color, lipstick color, body type. You know, we're just so, I'm going to use the word that we're not supposed to use, judgmental and critical of people.
Yeah. But it's something that you said, Serge, because you were talking about not being free to give out those compliments before. And I think it comes from a place where we think there's only so much power or glory to go around. And if I give out a compliment, that diminishes me.
Yes.
But somewhere in there, in Christ, you figure out, you know what? I can grace other people, and I'm all right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's just that generosity of spirit, which I definitely see in you all the time.
That is
But it's
Jesus.
that generosity of
That is
spirit.
Jesus. That
And
is
sometimes, you know, if you need to get to that place, you can force it by just doing that. It's kind of like when you, like, I love this blue dress on you. I am loving this
I want
dress
you to
on
know, work.
But there are some times when you might see a woman and you might like something and you just don't say anything.
Yeah. You just
And what is that that's keeping us back from saying, you really look nice?
right.
But if you force it, then it's like, you know what? You feel better afterwards.
Yes.
You know, that's the way to get there.
Totally
I think you mentioned it. I mean, I grew up with sisters. And my sisters, they call us teenage girls. And my sisters, my mom told us, your sister is all you have. When it comes down to it, your sister, and it's the truth. We may argue, we may disagree.
Yes.
But at this minute, if I need them, they're all on their way.
Yeah.
And so I think I learned the idea of sisterhood from being with sisters. And so with my sisters, we don't pull any punches.
Yeah.
You'll never question how I feel about you, because I'm going to just come and tell you. And then the next minute I'm going to say, and can I borrow your shoes? Because it's just like that. We wipe it. But you said, what is a sister to me? It's funny, as we were, we're getting ready for this show, and it's new, and we're exciting, and I'm thinking I can do everything, because we're super women, right?
Right.
And so I have a friend who is gifted to pull clothes. It's just what she does.
Yes.
And I got the revelation that a sister is somebody you allow in your closet. It doesn't matter if your closet is dirty.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what is in your closet. A true sister will go in your closet, find things that you never knew you had inside of you.
That's awesome.
Pull it out, put it together,
Yes.
and help you to be new.
Yes.
But you have to be willing to allow them to walk in that gifting. Because my friend just said, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Right.
And my initial thought was, my closet's not clean. My room, I've got so much going on at work.
Right.
Like, you can't imagine what's going on. And she said, I'm coming. And I had to be willing to say, you know what, sister friend? Bring it.
Yeah.
Right.
And as a result, so I think a true sister is somebody you allow in your closet to see your dirt.
Can
And they
somebody
don't
tweet that?
expose it.
Tweet that right now. That
good.
that is good.
Yeah.
That is really,
Good
really
stuff.
good.
Growing up for me, I remember a few times, where people might say, "Oh, you got such a cute little daughter," and my mother used to be like, "That's not enough. You need to be smart. You need to be kind to people. You need to be generous. You need to be giving." And a lot of this, does it happen in the formative years of women? I don't know. I have another friend, same thing. A lot of people used to say, "Oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. She has star quality. She's the next, child celebrity." And she would interject and say, "Don't tell her that. Tell her, be kind. What's the last book you read? What's the last thing you've done to help someone?" So we should probably be mindful of what we're saying to our daughters.
So
And when we compare at such a young age.
Yes.
Because even at a young age,
That's
I remember
it.
my sister is 2 years older than me, but she's teeny. Now, I was average, but my sister was very small. And people used to always come and say, "Oh, you're the older one." And it was almost like I started feeling like I was too big, because why am I bigger than my big sister? And inadvertently, they were not trying to do anything, but consistently, I just kept getting that all the time. And you just get this comparison, even when it's inadvertent.
Yeah.
So imagine the overt, "Oh, she's the pretty one. Oh, she's the smart one." And people start categorizing you. And it's just so damaging, even when we don't realize it.
Well, in our young people,
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it at the root of most of the contention between young people
Yes.
is the idea of,
The sad part about that is we have a tendency as females to be very mean to one another.
you know what? I don't take that.
We have a tendency.
Some of us.
Some. The reason why I say that is because when you lack confidence within yourself and you don't understand who you are and your purpose in life, you're going to seek elsewhere, but not always be able or mature enough to love your sister and respect your sister, and that is huge. And another thing too, I always see it like this: when you hurt, I hurt.
Right.
We don't look at it like that. When you're in pain, I'm in pain.
It's good.
So we'll be back.
to Vantage Point. We want to talk now about what lights that spark. We're talking in our adults-only section. And I just wanted to bring up this topic because, my husband and I, we have 33 years in.
What? Can we just do that real quick?
Can you rub some of that?
Yes.
Give me some of that. That's important. I need that. Thank you.
And we still, people are always asking the question, how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it romantic? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about some of our romantically challenged brothers who might need a little idea here and there.
Teach.
Because the thing we all know, and we've heard it before, is that sex doesn't start in the bedroom.
No, it does not.
It starts way before that with what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel intrigued, what makes you feel warm and ready.
Right.
And so to that end, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what is it that, kind of lights our fire. It's not necessarily all that stuff that's directly in the bedroom.
Not feet.
But, well, no.
No, not feet, sir.
So you run with the feet, girlfriend. You run with the feet. You own the feet. You have the feet. I'll leave the feet alone. But what is it that really sparks you, that kind of gets you going?
I love great conversation. That, to me, is just so stimulating.
Your bedroom is really,
It's rubbing and depth. That's all.
feet and conversation.
It's something to be said when, my husband and I, we're having a thought-provoking conversation. And he's giving me insight within his visions and dreams. I find that so stimulating. Because then he's giving me a glimpse of what he thinks about on a day-to-day basis. And he's my husband. So when he succeeds, I succeed. And that sparks something within me.
That's an emotional connection.
Yes.
That's an emotional connection. That's very sexy. Yeah, I agree with you.
I remember when I was dating my husband, he said something to me. He says, I'm pursuing you with a purpose. He says, we're going to protect this, nurture it, and grow it. That was sexy. And I also remember in premarital counseling, pastor had asked the question, why are you marrying this man? I said, I love him, but I trust his leadership. And he was like, oh, that's a good reason to get married. But there's something about a man with a vision and a plan for his family. I said, oh, do we have to wait for January 3rd? Like, we can do this right now. Just call Pastor and go to the why make that face?
Y'all so deep. This is what turns me on. Clean something. Clean something. If you get the vacuum, I got you, bro. Get you a rag and dust something.
You're right.
If when we had babies, change that baby, man, you the sexiest diaper changer I ever did see. I'm gonna let you change by new teeth. But I mean, and I think it's important when you know your love language. There's a book, The 5 Love Languages, and understanding what pushes your partner, and mine is it's acts of service. Acts of service. Acts of service. Don't buy me no gifts. I don't care about no gifts. I can get it for myself. I don't need you to compliment me. That gets on my nerves after a while. Clean something.
Okay, I hear you. Mine is touch.
Ooh.
Mine is touch.
All right.
And if you know the hawk, as some people call them,
Lord,
there's a way that we could be at a grocery store, we could be anywhere, and Robert will just pull me close.
I've seen him put you in a headlock. I'm like, is that a headlock or is that
It's almost like a thing, like we know that's the Hawks.
And you love it. You see that you love that.
I love it. And it just says, it communicates to me, not just security, but like, we're together in this.
That's awesome.
And if you do it at 9 o'clock in the morning, come 9 o'clock at night, I'm still feeling that way, if you understand. I love it, because my thing is touch.
That is so strange how we're all different. That would annoy me.
Yeah.
Why are you touching me? Why are
you
you rubbing me? Why are you, stop doing that?
I'm acts of service all day. Like a clean kitchen is like a beautiful landscape for me, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. But my husband is not only physical touch, but he's a romantic. I married a romantic. And I'm not. And sometimes I'm like,
work at it.
Okay, all right. But he's a romantic, and I'm learning to embrace his romance. I mean, he plans some really fresh and funky things.
Do you like
Shout
when
out
he
to
does that?
You know what? There's been a handful of times where I'm like, I don't feel like I don't want to do anything. I want to go home. I want to lay down. I want to eat a lot of chicken and just go to sleep and crab legs. But no, he's got this beautiful weekend planned, and I go, and I always end up having a wonderful
And I hear you
wonderful
tell me
time.
these things, and I'm like, man, that is so awesome.
He's great.
I
He's
think
great.
that's great.
Shout out to my boo.
Yeah, mine is words of affirmation. I want you to tell me I look good every day, all day. I'm just being honest with you. And maybe that's why intellectual conversation stimulates me because I love to hear it just does something in to my soul when I'm hearing these beautiful words come out of my
Okay,
husband's
so
mouth.
let me ask you this: what happens that turns you completely off?
Don't
It's
clean.
like, please don't do this. Just please don't do this. It would be the opposite, I guess, of your love languages.
Yeah.
I don't like to have sex in a dirty room.
Okay, so you
Doesn't that? But don't you just block that out?
No. How do you do that?
You block it out.
My
Well, wait
whole
a
thing,
minute.
I'm looking like the ironing board is still up. I see the ironing. Do you not see the ironing board?
There's nothing sexy about an ironing
Hang
board.
that shirt up.
Nothing
Sexy about
Nothing
it.
sexy about
Yes.
an ironing board.
Yes.
I can't get
I
that.
want the garden was a beautiful place that God created for Adam and Eve, and I want my bedroom to be a garden. That can go. That a little deep. Y'all let
You going crazy.
We went there with
You going
garden.
crazy.
Say that about your
No,
deep
but
conversation.
there's something to be said about that because a cluttered space, now you're talking to a minimalist,
yeah.
a cluttered space confuses you. There's a lot of noise. And so if there's a clear landscape, I can focus and make a connection.
Come
so
on.
I get it. I totally
thank
get it. But you know me, I got issues where I don't have issues.
That's
I've
right.
been delivered.
In Jesus'
Yes.
name.
But
In
I
Jesus' name.
prefer,
There you go.
it is sexy to me when things are in order.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you communicate that to your honey? Like, how do you softly or get over the point that I appreciate the fact that you are trying to do this for me, but I would really rather have this.
Got a great dishwasher story. So we were first married, and I said, I don't want to be so rigid where it has to be my way. Because, you know, when you first get married, it's the merging of the things and the merging of the process and the merging of the bills, and, you know, and you know, I tend to sort of be a little too organized. So I cook. The deal is I cook, you clean. And so he's putting the dishes away, and I'm like, he ain't putting the right spoons with the other spoons. Like, my spoons have to align in the dishwasher, and I was just going through all this torment in the inside of my mind and my heart, and the Holy Spirit was like, shut your mouth. And I just prayed. I said, Lord, please, you know, just lead him to do it the right way. Anyway, months go by. He says to me, you know, the way you load the dishes are much better. And he started doing it. I said, thank you, Jesus.
And that was sexy.
That was sexy.
Straight on
That
up.
was sexy.
There you go.
That's the
I
dishwasher
think that
story.
says it all. Listen to the Holy Spirit and letting him move through all of this, communication and all.
Right.
That's what keeps it hot.
Good
We'll be
stuff.
right back.
Well, if you've been tuning in, you know we've delved into some deep conversations today, ladies. And actually, Alexa, you touched on something that was really, really interesting, the idea of body shaming and how oftentimes we have a complex about our body and the image that we have. And not only do we have a complex about our body, we have complexes about other people's bodies as well. And so I want to just have a conversation, a dialogue about body shaming and the idea that, you know, the role that other people's opinions play, the way that you feel about yourself, the way that social media plays, and if you think it's gender specific. So let's start with the gender. Do you think there is a disparity between the way that men view each other in regards to their body and body shaming versus women?
Actually, I read someplace, and I forgot what the exact statistic was, but it was something like a third of boys, somewhere between 8 and 12-year-old, are actually dieting.
Oh, wow.
A third of middle school boys, let's
Yeah.
say, between 8 and 12, are actually dieting. And that surprised me, because I was thinking that is so young to be so concerned about your body, and it can be very unhealthy, depending on how you do it. But the thing that surprised me the most is that it was boys. I would kind of expect it on the girl side, because there's so much pressure, you know, societally against girls. But even guys are feeling it.
You know what? And I wouldn't put it out there if my son hadn't already put it out on live TV. But my son went through a period where he wouldn't eat at school, and I didn't know that he wasn't eating at school. It was a period of 3 weeks, and you know, we keep in constant conversation, but life happened, and so eventually we started talking about it, and I got an opportunity to tell him about how God made your body, and this is the development stage, and he listened, and he went back to school, and he told them, you know what? I'm hungry. and I'm going to eat. And from that moment, now he's taken that platform, and now he helps other kids that are being bullied. So it's not, I'm raising boys, and that's something I've experienced.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Don't leave her hanging. You know, also with, again, I don't remember the source or where I saw it, but there's men who are getting like calf implants, surgeries to enhance certain body parts. You know, you can go to the gym, and the anatomy is an interesting thing. Everybody's different. When you train, it's just different. Now, once upon a time, I used to train hard, but I'm working on that too. But I do recall men in the gym, very aggressive, trying to develop, the pecs and the chest, and they couldn't achieve a certain results and would resort to surgery.
Wow.
So, that was very enlightening for me. I didn't think men had issues with body shaming as well.
Amazing. I believe one of the reasons why is because of what the world portrays out there. So if you're not a size 0, then something's wrong with you. Instead of as people, because it's not just females, it's male as well, just understanding, well, this is who I am. So what? I'm a little heavier than the other young lady that, or young man. And why can't we just embrace who we are? And, when I look at, social media, what's being posted, and when I look at television shows, everyone they look the same. And that's attractive. And it's sad because the Bible talks about, not being conformed to this world, but being transformed. And it's a mind thing. It's a perspective thing. You have to be able to look at that. It's like, hey, that looks great on her or him. But you know what? I look good. Yeah, and it's okay. Yes.
Wasn't it Joyce Meyer who said, come to peace with your thighs? Come to peace with your thighs. Those are your thighs.
My thighs are coming together anyway, so you might as well.
They're united.
There's something to be said about, when I see a woman that may be a bit, I don't want to say bigger, but I like to call them healthy women. But when she is confident in that thing, that is attractive. Same thing with a man, so what? You're a big guy, but you're clean, you're polished, you smell good.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
It's funny that when you were talking about, in our previous segment, about the girdles, and to see, I wear equipment. Praise the Lord. I have 3 children, and they've taken some things out with them. I need a little assistance. But to see men on the package, that men are actually wearing these corsets and girdles to pull everything together. So, I mean, it's not just gender specific, and I think women catch a bad rap oftentimes talking about, how we are shaming. But how about the role that we play in, you were very candid, and I loved it, when you were talking about how you would look at other women, but the role that women play in shaming other people in their body image. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it is definitely an issue. Ladies, we have a gift. In 2 seconds, we can size you up.
Yes, we can.
I can look at you from head to toe, and I've done it. I work with young people, and I've seen them. They'll look, did you see everything that you needed to see? What else would you like to show you?
Right.
Because after you finish looking, I don't care.
Right.
But I haven't always been at that place.
Right.
Well, I had a learning curve. I had a learning moment because I remember, I think I was watching TV, and there was a woman, and this is kind of like at the height of when I was doing a lot of fitness, and there was a woman who, I think she must have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 pounds. And my first glance at her my first thought was, oh, she needs to lose some weight. And it was judgmental, and to my shame, it was just a real quick, snappy, she needs to lose some weight kind of thing. And I sat down and actually watched the show, and as it went on, she had already lost 100 pounds.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Wow.
She had already lost 100 pounds.
Right.
And so I sat there going, oh, God, I got it. You will never have to teach me this lesson again. Because I just made a snap judgment about her. To your point, I sized her up in 2 seconds, didn't know what her struggle was, didn't know what she had already come through. Just in that alone, she bested me because I haven't lost even proportionately that much.
Right.
And it just schooled me, like, you have no idea what's going on. And it wasn't my place to judge in the first place.
You know what? But on the other side of that, when you talk about being sisters and friends, but what do you do when you know your friend is unhealthy and they're excessively overweight, we also, as sisters, as friends, if I see that it's a health issue as well, and it's not just, it's both sides of the paradigm.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
that is a
that's
tough
one.
place to be. And I've been there, not just there and that, with being overweight, but in a lot of things, even the way, there's the judgment and the constant criticism of other people, not just women. And that there's, a why behind the what, and there's hurt there. And so you have to be very discerning on when to approach it. And I just believe, the Lord will reveal to you the right moment and the right time, so that person might have the right heart to receive what it is that they need. But a lot of times we walk around not spirit-led, and we say what we want to say when we want to say it, and moved by the flesh, and what happens? Offense. Offense takes over, and then our sisterhood is compromised, and you're labeled, and it's just not right. It's just not right.
And in the age of social media and the internet and things being so accessible, social media plays a huge role in the way that some women feel about their body. And not just women, but men as well. So have you guys experienced anything on social media or any type of public shaming or experienced anyone who's gone through that? I know working with young people, that's where the battle starts.
Yes.
Oftentimes it starts the evening before. There's some type of banter back and forth on the social media, and then they'll come into the schools the next day, and it might be something simple as, she said, oh, no, this is a fact. She said that my weave was bad. Oh. And my question to her was, well, was your weave bad? That's the first thing. I mean, is your weave bad? That's
right.
No? Well, then why do you care?
That's it.
Well, there's humiliation, too. That's let's be real. This is on the World Wide Web.
It never goes away.
And it never goes away. And in some states, there's different, prosecution or new legislation being developed where you could be prosecuted and potentially with a felony as a minor because of the power of social media and what it can lead to. Right. But I too work with young people, and it's cruel. It's cruel what they're saying and doing. And let's not, exempt grown folks either, because they're guilty as charged too. And sometimes it's not as direct. It's a sideway dig. It's like, I'm gonna be the
cute post.
Yeah, but everybody know what you're talking about, sis. Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about, who you're talking about, and why you're talking about them. So, that social media thing is very, very powerful. It is. It's very powerful.
It's important, I think, as parents and adults that we monitor what kids are putting out on social media, because you learn a lot about your kids. You learn a lot about the way that they feel about themselves. We have, talking about body shaming, we have individuals who put out their body parts, their genitals, and things, and they're sending this out on social media. And I don't think, and the other part of it is, I don't know that they think of it as shaming. They don't think of it as shaming. They think this is the thing to do. The sexting and all those other things that they're just putting out. So I don't know. And then my other thought was, how does God feel when we don't feel so great about ourselves? Here I go. I took all this time, and I think he took a long time making me. He takes all this time, and he crafts and he molds and he makes, and he says, I want her to have these eyeballs, and I want her to have this size foot, and I want her to have this size breast. And then we say, that's not good enough.
That's right.
Let me change it.
I don't like the way I look.
Let me cut it up.
It's insulting.
My question is, before you make any changes to anything that God created, you consult with him first. Because he is the creator.
That's right. And he also said, I created man in my own image. So what does that say?
And to say that his image isn't good enough isn't good enough.
It's insulting.
Well, we thank you so much for your contributions, lady. That was good stuff. That was good stuff. Good stuff. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Robert Hawkins, Senior Counsel at Hawkins Counsel Group. We're a full-service law firm with a focus on excellence and service to our clients. Our practice areas include intellectual property, which includes patents, trademarks, and copyrights. We handle both commercial and residential real estate transactions. We help you with your business formation for both for-profit and not-for-profit entities. We do estate planning, including wills, trusts, medical directives, and power of attorney. Our practice also includes licensing, contracts, mediation, and more. Even if you're not sure we handle your area of need, give us a call. We will access our network of attorneys on your behalf. Call us anytime at 302-635-1511. That's 302 635-1511, or visit our website at hawkinscounselgroup.com.
Welcome back. So we're continuing our conversation on body shaming. I just think that it is just so important. And the idea that who you hang around often shapes the way you feel about yourself. So true. You know, I had a God answers prayers. He is such a prayer answering God. I prayed. My prayer was, God, surround me with some girls, some ladies that are my friends in every sense of the world.
Agreed.
You know, you've got the dynamic with your skin color where some people were talked about because they're too dark or their hair is too short. Well, on the other side, there's also that body shaming on the light skin, long hair side. So I grew up, I was that light skin, long hair girl. And they would always, you know, I thought that something was wrong with that. So my sister and I would lay out in the sun and try and get as dark as we could. I married a dark-skinned man. I was just naturally attracted to dark-skinned men because I wanted my children to have this dark skin, all because I was told that there was something wrong with being light-skinned and having long hair. You think you're better than everybody else. You're always trying to. And I'm just working with the skin I'm in.
That's right.
You know,
I have no
I
control over that.
I have no control over
That's
it.
right.
I have no control.
It's so funny, Lori, because growing up, it was the complete opposite. That if you were light-skinned, you were considered better, a better class, if you will.
Bougie.
Bougie.
I hate
I
that
couldn't
word.
stand when I used to hear, oh, that's a pretty dark-skinned girl. Why can't you just be a
Pretty girl.
As if it's a huge exception.
Exactly. And it's so funny where it got to the point where you could actually go to the store and purchase bleaching cream. So you'll find the dark-skinned young ladies, at the time it was young ladies that would try to bleach their skin because we were taught, or society said, oh, lighter is better.
Or bleach bag.
Or
You put bleach in the water and try and make them lighter.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And what's the message that we're sending our young girls?
Right.
You know, and if we, you know, I made a mistake. I was really supposed to be a history major, I think, but it's just a little bit too much work and too many numbers, so I got out of that. But one thing that I find interesting is in the African American culture, when we look at what we're actually praising. So the light skin is being praised, but do you know how we got to be that way? That's right. Because when we came over here, we were these rich, dark, chocolate individuals, and then things happened.
Yes, right.
And in many cases were involuntary, and as a result, the skin started, the melanin started to getting a little bit lighter, and then that's the thing that we're celebrating.
Yeah.
And the long-term effect of that, it doesn't just stop with, oh, I don't look good. But inside the heart of that young girl is, I'm not good enough. And it just slowly diminishes her voice.
Right.
So it's not just, I'm not good enough to wear this, or I'm not good enough to attract boys, or I'm not good enough, etc. It starts shifting into, I'm not good enough at this conversation table to open my voice, to open my mouth. I start losing my voice. When I grow up and I'm in business, I'm going to wait for everybody else to say something first, because I'm not good enough to have an idea. And it just perpetuates through that whole life. It's a disempowering thing, and it's not a small thing by any chance. So it's the kind of thing that you really want to. I like what you were saying earlier. You had a conversation with your son. As soon as you found out something was wrong, you had a conversation with your son, and you were able to set him in a different direction, so that he knew you are fine.
Right.
You are okay just the way you are. Now, all of us have things we need to change that are more characteristic than anything else. But in terms of the body that you came into this world, run with that. You are good just as you are.
And it was
we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
This also, you know, yes, that's here within in this country, in this nation, but this spans out to other countries, because this is a real thing in the Hispanic culture, you know, amongst the Cubans. Even just recently, I was very fortunate to work as, you know, I was modeling for an Indian company. And the photography was phenomenal. The
Well,
artwork.
you were just fabulous. Let's just say
Listen,
that.
the
That's
artist
just
was
simple.
amazing.
Absolutely
And
beautiful.
it was, thank y'all. But I didn't recognize myself. My husband didn't my own mother didn't recognize who I was. But I remember looking at it and saying to myself, first of all, how did I get this gig? When you have all these other beautiful Indian women who could serve, in this role, but I got it. And I'm looking at it, and I said, some little Indian girl is going to look at this picture and think this is an Indian bride when it's nothing but a little Puerto Rican from the Bronx. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a
That's so
lie.
good.
And it's not just there, but even like when you talked about hair, how many times have you been hugged by a grown woman?
No, not grown woman. I've had a grown man.
Okay.
Oh,
A grown man.
So you know where I'm going.
Exactly.
So they hug you and they want to touch your head to see if it's real or fake.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I've had it.
did you just touch my hair to
Yeah.
test if it was real?
That is
Hair is
It's
a whole nother
phenomenal.
conversation
Yes.
for another day.
Wow.
Because, people often, when I turn, my hair moves.
Yes.
What do you want me to do about that? And that's your business. I'm not flicking my hair because it has body. I'm moving it because doggone it, when my head moves, my hair moves.
And if I bought it, so what? It's still mine because I made the money to buy it.
But I
It's
ain't
mine.
buy it, saints and friends. He gave it to me. Won't he do it? But yeah, but the whole idea,
unreal.
as you were talking about my son, I also said, look at your friends. Are they your friends?
Yes.
Because your friends kind of shape who you are. I was talking about my girlfriends, and one thing I love about the church that we go to, and the girls that I've met there, or the women that I've met there, the idea that everybody is all right with you being fly.
Yes.
I love that when I came to this church. A girl do that. I mean,
Yeah.
Serge saw something that she thought would look good on me and brought it for me. Like, girl, I saw this and I know. Shoot, my L on my chest is from my friend who said, I saw this and I thought this would look good on you. The idea of who you surround yourself with, the word that you get. I know at our church, our pastor says, get up, give somebody a compliment.
Yeah.
Give somebody a compliment.
Yeah.
And we're so stuck in who we are and being on the defense all the time that we don't want to even give each other a compliment. So that's a charge I put to the people.
And that makes me think this too. Your friends can be as diverse as you are.
That's right.
Good.
Because
That's very
I have
good.
friends who will geek out with me and go to the museum.
You say
Yes.
geek out.
Geek out.
Geek out. That was geek right there.
They will
When
geek
he
out
says
with
that.
me and then we'll go to the museum. I've got friends who will go shopping with me. I mean, you have different friends who will do different things. But what it says to me is, okay, I'm okay loving museums. I'm okay loving shopping. I'm okay if I want to do sports. But the different facets of me, I don't have to compromise them and say, oh, well, when I'm with this set of people, that's just not cool. It's like, it is cool.
And stay
set
diverse
of
in your
people.
friends. Don't look at you learn so much by being, I know, Natalie has a friend that's Indian and she learns so much and brings the information back to me.
my boo.
Yes, I mean, I don't just look at a skin color when I'm trying to decide who my friends are. I'm looking at those people who are shaping me and making me, oftentimes my friends get on me because they'll give me a compliment and I don't say thank you. And the reason that is because I have a hard time with that. It's not that I don't think I'm pretty. It's not that I don't, feel confident in myself. It's just I remember those people in high school who, she thinks she's cute. She said, and so I don't ever want anybody to feel that way. And that's, I'm 40 years old. 40 years old, and I was feeling 40. That's a whole nother conversation. But at 40 years old, there are still things that are laying dormant that sometimes can rise up in me that were planted in me. Those seeds that were planted can take root.
And I do this often, but I used to do it. Not dumbing myself down, sexy myself down, not be too fly because I don't want to offend. And I used to hide on the guidelines. I don't want to embarrass Jesus. No, if Jesus wants me to be fly, and it's okay to be who I be when I want to be.
That's Erica Campbell when she came out in the white dress. And there was all this despair. I said, work, mama, work. What kind of girdle do you have on? I need me about 2 of them joints. So we want to end our conversation on body shaming, but never end it on social media. Join us in the conversation. We'll be right back.
Check out Divine Cuts in Newcastle, Delaware, promoting a family, faith-filled environment. Call or book your appointment online today.
At the Print Shop, we apply our artistic and creative passion to create unique printed items. With our printing process, we empower people to express their love and passion for sports, family, team, or special interests. We can turn your idea into reality, from socks featuring your favorite sports team to a photo blanket for your grandmother. The Print Shop can print your photo or image on almost anything. In addition to sublimation, we also do traditional silk screening as well as vinyl work. Whether your need is 200 shirts for your family reunion or a single shirt to express you, we can make it happen. We would love to hear from you. Please call us at 856-517-3959, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, welcome back. Wow, body shaming, that was interesting. Good stuff both men and women, you know, have issues and suffer with body shaming. But no shame in this next topic.
All right.
No shame at all, but we have to talk about the chipped fingernail polish.
Yeah.
No bueno.
No bueno.
It's not good.
No bueno?
It ain't, well, you know, okay. There's some people out there who are saying that this is a new trend and it's okay. And I said, who the heck said that foolishness?
Are you serious?
Yes, that's just one of my things. You know, fingernails, not just your fingernails, your hands do say a lot about. And I'm not looking for the perfect manicured hands. I'm just looking for clean hands, right? But, you know, the Parisians have a lot of influence in terms of our fashion and things that we take on that's fly. And you know, the Parisian je ne sais quoi is, you know.
You bilingual today, friend?
Not really.
You done went
But my friend over there is.
But buenos dias.
Yeah, I don't even know what I just said. But, you know, you're seeing someone with like some chipped fingernail polish, and it's okay. And here you're seeing some people do that, whereas back in the 60s, the 50s, the 30s, heck, even in the 90s, it was an absolute no-no. You know, we all have our pet peeves, our things. When you have a little bit of a chipped fingernail, okay, you know, you haven't gotten to it. But when that nail polish has been on there for 6 months and you have a little corner left, boo-boo, it's time to get some nail polish.
Well, how about some of the ladies that actually have nails and they get it, you know, press-ons or whatever it is, and it's out to here? And I'm thinking, how in the world how does that's not attractive.
But here's the thing.
It's not attractive.
But the key is, that's their fingers. If they want to have nails to scratch their butt with, I can't say. Can I say scratch your butt?
we got you.
No, but you're right. No, you're absolutely
but those
right.
are their fingernails, and I think that's another one of those judgment things that women do and body shame and size up. But if my thing is that I like my fingernails, I'm able to function. I mean, I don't know about the health side of it, how you keep them clean. But then again, they're not my fingernails. Yeah. So I mean,
so let me reframe the question. What if? Okay, so you know what you do when you do that's okay. But what about when you're at an interview or on a date? Or, you know.
You said on a date.
On a date. Or even in surgery or, you know, in some kind of profession.
You're not going to use your fingernails to cut me open.
Not surgery. But I do know some professions you can't have fingernail polish.
Yeah.
There are some that do that. But, I mean, you know, I think it's telling.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line, I think, would be hygiene.
Okay.
I mean, you need to be clean. Yeah. Everyone needs to be clean. And then going up from there, you know, some people won't have any polish at all. Keep it neat. Some people might have clear. Some people might have polish all the time. But whatever you do, as my mom would say, do it well.
That's right.
So if you're going to have nice nails, I mean, nice manicured nails, lacquered all the time, just make sure that it's really, really nice. I'm thinking, though, about just different varieties of women. Because you've got the stay-at-home mom who's gardening all day, and she scoops up her
dishes
and whatnot. She may not be the person who's going to be going around, you know, every 2 weeks to get the gels. But so you have different people who are doing different things.
Now, and neither am I. I don't do that. You know, I like my money in my pocket. But
you're gifted to do it too.
But a lot of times, because you know life happens, and I too am swamped some weeks. I just don't have anything on them. I just don't. You know, and you know, I do have chipped every now and then, but I'm talking about when it's on there for months. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I do. I mean, and to your point, sorry, Mom, but I used to cut school and catch the bus and go get my fingernails done.
gonna
Because
get you.
it was important to me. And the
Yeah,
bad thing is she
my
can still
jaw
put me on
drops.
punishment. She can still put me on punishment. But it was so important to me. And then when I added my third little lamb chop into this cycle, those nails just had to come off. I mean, today, these are press-on nails, okay? I got these at the store, the little drug store, put these joint on there because I wanted to make sure I presented myself well. And I think that's what it boils down to, taking that extra care to make sure that you're presented well. And then when this is over, I'm going to pop them off, and tomorrow, you're going to see me back in my regular nails.
And these right here were done where?
In the car.
At the red light. Don't do that at home.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
No, you can't even
But
see it.
when I was growing up, my sister told me, and I don't even know if this is true or not, but it worked, and it's worked ever since, that chip nails used to mean something. And it would indicate that you were a lady of the night of sorts.
Yes.
And the color of the chip nail
about to
polish
say,
would
yeah.
indicate the services that you provided. And I don't know if it's true or not, but it worked for me. And I still, and as a matter of fact, I started to look it up to see, but I don't even want to know. I don't want to know if it's true or not because I want to be able to keep that in my head. Because I tell it to my students. You do know what them Chuck polish mean. What does that mean? Girl, let me tell you. Then they're like, oh, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take it off. And what about when you get acrylic nails and you have a broken fingernail?
Get them done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds ideal.
Get 'em done.
It does, no, but like,
You make time.
I am in that phase of life.
Listen, you make time. Because that's what I'm my pet peeve.
Or you go to the drugstore and get you some of these press-ons that I got on here right now. Just don't tap your nails.
It's just something about, and this is a surgism, this is my vantage point. It is something about well manicured nails. And to me, it speaks volumes. Even your attire, how you carry yourself. All of that goes hand in hand. Your breath.
hygiene.
Hygiene. You know, so if you have acrylic nails, get them done on weekly, bi-weekly, if you can afford them. If you cannot, maybe you shouldn't have acrylic nails on.
Right.
Just a thought. Because after a while, it doesn't look presentable. And again, this is my vantage point. However, it does say, it says a lot. It says a lot. When I look, and it's not that, and of course you shouldn't be, sizing anyone up or being judgmental, but if I am interviewing someone, I am looking at how you carry yourself.
Well, the interview is a judgmental space.
Well, that's good.
You're right.
That's
where
true.
you are
Right.
being
That's
judged.
good.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm
That's
a
a
single
great
woman,
point.
That's good.
and I've heard this in certain settings. When you leave your home, you want to present the very best you that you are, right? Let's be real. We just should. Now, some people are going to get me for this, but I'm just repeating what I've heard in other settings. But yes, you're marketing yourself.
That's very true.
So when you I'm good. I can have chip fingernail polish because my man, he don't care. No, he would care. He'd be like, handle that. But to be aware. The point is just to be aware of what you got going
color
on.
of the fingernails.
That's interesting.
Well, trends change because the whole the black fingernail polish,
that wasn't me.
used to be, very skull, very dark, but then it was trendy, and I was rocking the black polish myself. So it's tough. I mean,
So if you're interviewing, because you all are in positions where you do so, if someone walks in and they've got hot pink fingernails, what's your first impression? Are you thinking, this is my future employee? Are you thinking, oh, she's street? Like, what are you thinking?
Well, it could be hot pink, it could be green, it could be black. I'm looking at how well polished it is. So if it's hot pink, I'm thinking, oh, she just love color.
For me, as an interviewer, it depends on what I'm interviewing for. If you're a frontliner, if you are the first face, the first fingers that someone sees when you walk into an office or business or an organization, that is the representation of the organization. What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to smell like? Hygiene. I think it's a part of hygiene, and I think the safest thing is if you can't maintain them, just keep them natural, and that's okay. That's okay.
I was thinking. It really depends on the fit about where.
Wow, very interesting. Good vantage point. We'll be right back.
Thinning hair? HLCC can help. Proven laser technology. Affordable, effective, dramatic results. 25 years, 175 locations worldwide. Call today for a free consultation and 4 free laser treatments. 220-1500 or hlcconline.com.
Welcome back. The next segment, we're going to be talking about that's in the Bible. One of the things, ladies, over the years that I've constantly hear is about healing, which I believe in miracles, signs, and wonders. Strong believer of that. I believe that Jesus saves and heals even today. You know, and I've heard awesome testimonies of people being healed of AIDS and cancer, leprosy, blood pressure, you name it. But one of the things that I want to really touch on is emotional healing. Now, I am a very emotional person. Some people may not think so, but I am. And a lot of times I suppress how I feel because there are times I feel if I show too much emotion, it will show that I'm weak or a sign of weakness. But behind closed doors, I struggle because I'm very sensitive to people and I pick up a lot of things. And there are times it's very hurtful. And I was going through a period of just, it was just really an emotional roller coaster for me. And I was asking God to really help me. And this is really why it's so important to have good girlfriends around you, because it's amazing. When I was going through a very troubling time, Nat was, without her even knowing I was going through a rough time, she would just randomly call and come to the house and not realizing, and this is the Spirit of God, not realizing that she's helping me through that journey without me even saying anything. But going back to emotional healing, I, started to ask God, Lord, I know you are a God that is concerned about everything, even the things that concerns me. And I was like, Lord, I'm going through a tough time, and I need you to help me through this emotional process. And he started to surround me with good girlfriends. He started to surround me with people who know him and pulling me out of it. And I wanted to get your vantage point on that, because the Bible talks about the renewal of the mind. And a lot of times, whatever you think and whatever you process, it impacts your emotions. Right. And if you're not thinking of the right things, because the Bible also talks about focusing on the good things, things that are true, and that are pure, that are good, and who you're around plays an impact on that, right? But at the same time, I have spoken to women who are believers, love God, but they're not whole. No. They're broken. And it bothers me when I see that, because I can identify. And sometimes you don't always speak because you don't want to tell it all. Right. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what, Lord, I remember saying, God, if you take me out of this, I will spend the rest of my life helping other people to get out of it. And I know God is a God of today, and I know he wants to heal us of any emotional things that may weigh us down. But from your vantage point, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have a friend who has totally changed my perspective of mental health. Mm-hmm. And the idea that we're quick, if my finger hurts or if I broke my leg, I'm going to the doctor. Yeah. But if my mind just isn't right, it's taboo to say, I need help. Right. I need help. I need somebody to help me process it, be it spiritual or natural, where you go and actually talk to somebody, or you take medication for a temporary amount of time. But the idea is that God wants to renew our mind. I mean, I've recently been experiencing things that will just have blown my mind. Mm. And I don't take for granted anymore. I'm so glad to be in my right mind.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that is something that I every day, God, I thank you. And the absolute only way that I'm able to maintain my sanity in my current state is with God. Right. Because I know he has me. And when you give up that weight of having to control everything and balance everything and say, God, I know you have me. Yes. Your mind frees up and you feel renewed. So he is constantly renewing my mind daily by letting me know he has me, and that it's okay to reach out if I need help.
Yeah, and that's understanding a spiritual truth. You have to grab hold of the principle that and really intentionally take captivity of every thought and point it towards Jesus. Yes. Again, I've heard someone say, you can have your moment, you just can't stay there. Yeah. You can't stay there, but you can't stay there if you don't know where you could be.
You don't recognize
and that's back to girlfriends again. And I have to say this, and you don't want the glory. But when I was in that mindset And I real talk, you got to know when to talk first
Yes,
off.
that's good.
And I reached
Absolutely.
out and I sent to my girlfriends and I said, my mind is not right. And my girl said, you get a minute, but that's it. And come on back. But they drew me back and they called me on my stuff. Who are you? Do you know who you are? You tell everybody else. Do you know? You need some girls on your side that'll do that. So thank you, friend. I needed you.
Here, catch my kiss. But you know what, Lori, trusting the process. That's a process. You know, you gotta trust it. And there comes a time where, you know, the Lord reveals to you like glimpses of things that you survived and overcome, and you're like, wow, his hand was on my life.
It is so funny. It's amazing to me. Just sitting here with, you know, with my, I call you guys sisters because you are. You know, I was weighed down so badly emotionally. I couldn't even enjoy the journey. I couldn't even enjoy, and it was amazing how God was just showing me, like, one day I was just having my pity party. I'm gonna admit it. I'm driving to work, I'm crying, and he was like, "Do you not know what's in your hands?" And I'm like, and I was like, "You're worried about this, but I'm trying to get you here, and you're focusing and you're meditating on your hurt, where I'm actually removing you here to get you here."
Love it.
But I had to make a decision to say, you know what? I'm just going to have to shake this thing off and walk in love and in forgiveness and enjoy the journey. But it's a choice.
Shake it up, everybody. Shake it.
One of the things that really gets me is when we talk about Jesus and that he is not a high priest that doesn't understand our infirmities. And when it talks about him being the healer of the brokenhearted. And sometimes it's so good, Serge, that you're saying this, because a lot of times we don't admit that we're broken-hearted.
Yes.
You know, that inner pain.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you know, there are all kinds of outside wounds that we address.
Yeah.
But sometimes your heart is hurt. And it doesn't take just a minute to get over that.
No.
It's not like,
And let me tell you,
it's not a one and done situation.
It's true.
But for people to come around you,
Yes.
and then there's a certain point when you can start to hear the Holy Spirit for yourself.
Yes.
And then, of course, you're accountable at that point to start slowly coming out the way he's asking you to come out. But it is a process. And to let people have the grace and the space and the room to grow.
Yes.
Let people have that moment, because you don't always have to be perfect.
Yes.
And that's the thing. There are seasons and times in our lives when sometimes we're not going to be perfect. We're not going to be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect business partner, the perfect et cetera, et cetera. But there are times, and it's not, it's recognizing that you're a real person.
Yes.
And a real person is not always 100% in every aspect of the game.
That is so true.
And so it's okay, and we need to let other people know it's okay because you're going through. You're not staying there.
Not staying there.
But
Not
you're
staying there.
going through.
You're going through.
And his strength is made perfect in our weakness. God, when I can let go and just say, God, I am feeling really weak, but you are strong.
That's right.
It's like a good man. He's like a good man. And for my single ladies out there, he's like a good man.
Excellent.
That no matter what the day is, when I get home and I get in the bed and I lay in my husband's arms, I know I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be right. And that's the way I feel. I feel like God scoops us up in his arms.
You know, and God not only wants to restore us, but he wants to establish us. Because when God restores you and then you allow him to establish you, no man can come against you. Right. It's almost like, I call it a rebirth, a resurrection. You know, the same resurrection power that raised Jesus from the dead is the same resurrection power that is within us as believers.
Absolutely.
As believers. And when I do have my moment, and you know, the beauty of it is when you have girlfriends that are led by the Spirit of God. And they could be amongst me. They don't even know what I'm going through, but they don't even realize they're mere presence. And it's not because it's them, it's the Jesus in them they're pulling me up, and they don't even realize it. Because sometimes we go through things, sisters, and it's hard to talk about it. And sometimes you don't want to put yourself out there, so you just kind of suppress it. But then there's something to be said when you have a confidant that you can talk to. But yet, you know, not only stays with them, but they'll pray you through.
Right.
And if you
And
don't
it's not
have
everybody.
that, pray that God gives
Not
you
everybody.
one.
Yes.
If everybody doesn't have a good friend, God is always that confidant.
Yes.
And the devil always works in the shadows.
Yes.
The devil always works in the shadows.
In
So we
isolation.
always want to make sure that we expose him. You know, don't stay quiet. That he would love for you to stay quiet.
Yeah.
Like you said, go find that person that you can find.
Peep you, devil.
Devil, I was going to say, devil, we see you. We're not stupid.
Now we'll go to a commercial.
What an awesome time we had. I'm telling you, this has been wonderful. We talk about a lot today, and there's still more to talk about, so much more to talk about. Today we talked about friendship and the importance of friendships and having good friends and making sure that you surround yourself with the correct people. And then TT, Alexa Hawkins, shocked us, talking to us about what turns you on. So gentlemen, I admonish you to talk to your women and say, hey, your wives. In
I
Jesus'
know that's
name.
right.
Won't need it. And talk to your wives and find out exactly, because sometimes we find out that what we think is turning somebody on is actually turning them off. And what works for one doesn't work for everyone. And then we got into the conversation of body shaming and how the role that plays in your life, and still ties back to friends and how the people that you surround yourself with play a role in how you feel about yourself. And then the dialogue about the emotional healing. I mean, that is still sitting on me heavy, because I know that there's somebody out there today who is dealing with something in your emotions, and I want you to know that God is with you. You're not in this alone. Never feel that it has to be the end. I know of the number of pastors that are taking their lives because they just feel like there's no way out. That how are you the pastor and you're the person that gives up? How are you the pastor? How are you the first lady and you're the one that says that I can't do this anymore? And I want you to know that you don't have to bear this burden on your own. God is a God who will renew your mind. He can do it. Trust him to do it. This does not have to be the end. Reach out. Seek professional help. Do whatever it is you need to do. So we're praying God's strength for you. We're so excited that you're joining us. The conversations were so deep. We had so much more that we wanted to say. And I know there were times that you wanted to interject and talk back to us. So join us on our social media. Look on the screen. You can find out how to find us. And we'll continue the dialogue. This is your vantage point as well. We want to make sure that your voice is being heard. So if you talk about it, we'll bring it back up. Because if it's a topic you want to talk about, that's right, it's worth giving a vantage point for. So until the next time, I'm Lori Hayes. And we'll see you next time on Vantage Point.